What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's Earthmaster here on this beautiful end of the weekend Sunday night. It's about 7:31 p.m. California time here on July 10th, 2022. Latest earthquake shows a 1.1 up into the area of Alaska. Seeing a little bit of activity ramping up there today. Also, a little bit of further movement around the Mariana Islands back upstream, though, with a 5.6 occurring prior to the subduction zone there. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here on the solar weather first, because we are really ramping up in terms of solar X-ray flux data coming in here. We're crackling with some upper C flares, and this is normally a good sign that things are about ready to pop on the sun in terms of possibly seeing an upper M flare or an X flare being produced from some of these sunspots that are crackling here. We did have a couple, at least one here, make it into the lower M range. Let me go back to the 3 days here. A couple of them almost trying to reach into the lower M flare category, but notice the amplification here, showing that things are really starting to pop off a little bit here on the GOES X-ray flux 1 minute data. Let's go ahead and go back here to the latest info from the solarham.net site, showing the activity kind of popping up like popcorn. These are coming from a sunspot, couple sunspots here, 3053 and 3055. This one down here is getting ginormous. And also around the bend here, we got two new developments here that are crackling with some C flares, upper C flares, 3056. And this one here will be shortly named 3057. If not tonight, probably in the morning time. These sunspots are directly facing us, and they do have the potential to pop off some good sized M flares. So we're going to watch that pretty closely here. I think the most favorable one is going to be 3055. 3053 does have a likelihood, and these other ones are kind of hard to tell from the eastern side of the limb here, or the eastern side of the sun, but I think those are going to be playing a part in our space weather events here coming soon as well. Looks like there is a G1 class storm probability on the 13th. That's going to be coming from some coronal holes that have been facing us. 99, 98 have been spewing out some charged particles, some solar wind stream. We'll see what this becomes. Of course, this is all subject to change, pending we have if we have any major solar flares or CMEs being produced. This could be enhanced to G2 or G3 class storm if things are worst case scenario. In my book, it'd be best case scenario, because I'm all about activity. I hate boringness. That's why I don't live in Southern California. If you like fair weather and nothing, Southern California is a place to live. All right. Beyond that, what do we got here for potential? 95% chance of a C flare, and that's pretty obvious with the consistent crackling that we're seeing here of numerous C flares. M flare stands at about 50% chance, and there is a 10% chance for an X flare from these sunspots. And the likelihood right now is they just added 3056, which is the far side sunspot on the eastern limb, southeastern limb. That one's crackling pretty good, but 3055, 3053 have the most likely dynamics producing some solar flares, some strong solar flares. This one right here is newly assigned sunspot region 3056, crackling with some minor solar flares as it turns into view. Below is an updated image showing a C8.8 flare that was just observed. This was just a couple hours ago, sparking out a pretty nice flare there. That's going to be the far side one down here on the bottom, right down here. But we got to watch his other development on the eastern limb there. It looks like we're kind of getting in on a trail of sunspots once again. So we're getting into that active phase, which is, you know what? That's all right with me. I'm not a fair weather type of guy. I don't like fair weather. Who likes fair weather? Do you? Like it boring all the time? No. Imagine life just sunshine all the time. Yeah, some people like it, but me, no. I'm an extremist. I love severe weather of many kinds. So things definitely ramping up here, folks, as we head into the coming days. I think we're going to see a pretty large M-flare coming up here with this type of event. This is pretty much like the popcorn getting ready to pop here. We should see this reach into the upper M-flare category here pretty soon. All right, earthquake activity. Let's go ahead and cover that real quick. This is the latest map here from the USGS. Still showing some activity here in the Puerto Rico Trench. This area very capable of producing a rather large earthquake. I think the estimated magnitude up around the 8 range for the Puerto Rico Trench region. That would no doubt create a tsunami in the region that would probably devastate the entire area, and not to mention sending up a wave through the eastern part of the United States. That's a fact, not fear-mongering, but a fact and a scenario if this thing were to pop. It's been quite a while since they've had any sufficient large-scale earthquake activity, and we know that there's accumulated stress within that region. And today there's definitely a pretty good swarm of activity. About 12 earthquakes or so in this region. Quite a few threes. It looks like a 4.5, the largest, right around 20 to 30 kilometers below the surface for that earthquake activity. South America, not a whole lot going on. Still seeing some deep earthquake activity in the Fiji Islands area and throughout Papua New Guinea. Java Trench as well. The latest quake there up on the globe, or at least up on the map, of 5.6 in the Mariana Islands area. This region did see quite a bit of swarming. Let's go ahead and bring up the 7 days, all magnitudes here. They've seen a number of earthquakes here, about 16, I would say moderate to large earthquakes here in this area. I mean, a 5.8, couple 5.8s in the mix there. So this area definitely under the gun in terms of quite a bit of pressure. We have been noticing a little blockage here of large-scale activity further west, and that's been helping to build some pressure here along the states and also around the Caribbean plate. We haven't seen too much activity in the South America region, though, but I don't know. I'm not 100% certain why we're lacking the activity there, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. 2.2 in the Pahala, Hawaii area. Also some movement cracking up here in the Mauna Loa area. 6.0 or 2.0 for a 6-kilometer deep earthquake there in that region. Getting some fairly deep earthquake activity. Something brewing underneath the ground there in the Mauna Loa area, so got to watch that pretty closely. Some movement up into the Alaska area. Getting a little swarm of movement here into the area of the subduction zone here, the Pacific and the North American plate. A couple 4s kicking off there at somewhat deep, about 44 kilometers or so for a couple of those earthquakes. What do we got here? Got a line of activity kind of stretching from about Texas through the New Madrid zone up into the Montreal area outside of Ottawa. Got a 2.2 kicking up there in Canada earlier today. About 18 kilometers or so for that earthquake. One earthquake here in Illinois. It looks like Benton, a little 2.2. Some movement in Oklahoma and also into the western Texas area. Let's see what we got for California. Some spotty activity, it looks like, in northern Cal. One earthquake out here around the Silver Peak, Nevada. And some spotty movement out here in the Southern California region, but no major swarmings taking place. No major swarm taking place right now. So just kind of a little spotty activity for sure. Yellowstone National Park, let's go ahead and check this out here real quick. There was a little earthquake activity out here. You guys got to remember this here. I see some folks fear-mongering this on the YouTube channel and other sites. This is not magma movements. It's not a heartbeat of magma. This is some type of interference, and this is very consistent with a technical glitch. Notice that every single one of these is equal in size as far as the time frame goes. So that tells me right there this is not anything to do with any magma movement, any type of underground activity. It is showing up all across the network here, and that means that it is inside the network. Some type of issue going on with the data that's coming in from these seismographs. So I'm sure they'll figure it out. We've seen it before in the past. This is not magma movement. I just want to stress that a lot. A lot of people love to fearmonger a little spike or some weird images, you know. Oh my gosh, it's gonna blow. You know, grab my coffee. Look for the show here. It's gonna blow. It's not gonna blow. This is interference, folks. We know what earthquake activity looks like. We've seen it. I've showed it to you guys tons of times. There's a little earthquake right here. This was a 2-pointer, I think. But prior to that, this interference started, and it's not magma. It's not. I don't care if you pull up 100 spectrograms and claim that the frequency is magma movement or consistent with magma movement. It's not. If we were to see it, here's a little deal. If we were to see harmonic tremor or large-scale magma movement amongst a super volcano, it's not a little volcano. It's not like Mount St. Helens or Mount Lassen. This is a very large volcano out here. If there was magma moving underneath the ground here, we would see ginormous amounts of GPS data displacement where the ground is rising. And also, magma moving underneath the ground would make a considerable amount of noise, right? Far as the frequency and far as the data goes on the seismographs, but it's not there. So whatever this is here, I'm sure it'll get fixed, but it's not magma at all. So put the fear-mongering channels to rest. It's time for those channels to go out to the boneyard because they like to fear-monger a lot, and we're not about that. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Tremor map. Let's go ahead and check out the tremor along the Cascadia. I try to make my updates on relevant information and factual data. I know the USGS tends to not report quakes, but all the information here, as far as the seismographs from volcanoes, from various earthquake areas along the coast, are available to the public. You can see it, you can check it out. Everyone who has access to the internet can check it out. And it's raw, it's live, it's recorded. And the USGS, yes, they don't report a lot of stuff, but it's there. That's kind of why this channel is here, to bring up this data. Little earthquake activity throughout the Mount St. Helens area, around the September lobe area. Looks like a couple small, very small microquakes. Looks like there was a little bit better one, a bigger one, a day or so ago. But this is all very small microquakes. There's not a whole lot going on at all throughout the Mount St. Helens area. As far as Yellowstone goes, we can pull up GPS station after GPS station after GPS station and show you guys data. So where is that supposed weird signal coming from? Right around the Hebgen Lake area, probably right up here. That unfortunately only goes to 2020. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what this data represents. So we got the eastward trend here of GPS displacement, northward trend of GPS displacement, all going down. Vertical displacement, there's not a whole lot. This is in mm. There's not a huge spike at all. If there was some type of magma movement underneath the ground, we would definitely be seeing that spark up pretty nicely throughout the Yellowstone area. Yellowstone, let's go over here down south a little bit. Some of these errors, see, someone could easily fearmonger this. See, look what happened in 2012. There was a ginormous uplift, eastward trend. Look at that. Look. No. This is antenna adjustment, instrument adjustment, moving, so to speak, of the data that was observed here on the graph. So sometimes these graphs look scary, but it's not. These are just antenna adjustments and whatnot. There was no huge vertical uplift here in 2012. This is all consistent with instrument rearrangement or adjustment, antenna adjustment. As far as the most recent data goes, we're showing a steady decline of the vertical uplift of Yellowstone National Park, folks. So that's the facts. I mean, I hate to burst those YouTube channels out there fear-mongering Yellowstone, but it's not going on there. Long Valley Supervolcano is another one that folks like to fear-monger. There was a little bit of earthquake swarming going on around the Long Valley region within the past couple weeks, but swarms of magnitudes have been pretty common here in this area for quite a while. Now, there's a couple very, 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 very small earthquakes here compared to what we've seen within about a week or so ago. We had a pretty good swarm, right? Let me show you guys here in the area. Let's go back up here to Long Valley, because I like to be thorough on my reporting here. I don't like the folks that grab a cup of coffee and claim that the world's ending. I don't think that's cool at all on those people, and those people should be called out. Should be reported, actually. Looking at the Long Valley Supervolcano, we haven't seen a whole lot of activity here in the last week. Most of this was from a couple weeks ago, and we had 324 epicenters of earthquake activity. But this is a very small swarm compared to swarms that we've seen in the past. Did it blow? Absolutely not. Most of these were all microquakes. If you look at the 4.5 and above, there wasn't even one. If we seen, for example, we've seen a bunch of 4s in there on that multitude at Long Valley Supervolcano, I'd be like, okay, something's going on here. And if we've seen vertical GPS displacements rising, I'd be saying, get the heck out of there. But swarms are very common around supervolcanoes. Very common. A lot of plate dynamics, fault systems all throughout the area. 7 days of activity here, 2.5 and above. Whoop-de-doo. We had a 2.8 and a 2.9. Is that something to break out and fearmonger about? Absolutely not, folks. 1 day, all magnitudes. Oh my gosh, it's going to blow, folks. Head for the hills. Okay, no. Definitely don't head for the hills. You guys get what I'm saying? I hope it makes a little bit of sense to you guys, because a lot of people are blind sheep. They love to follow the fearmongers, and I try to prevent that from happening. I try to help people into looking at obvious data. If something was going to blow, there's always swarms prior to it, or at least there's a large earthquake and then mini swarms. For example, if we've seen a 7-pointer or something around the super volcano there in Long Valley, followed up by numerous 5s and 6s and vertical uplift, it'd be a big deal. But these little swarms, for people to take into account and throw it up on a YouTube channel and claim that it's going to blow, it's just ridiculous. And knock that stuff off, guys. Come on. Not going to name any names, but I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Ridiculous stuff. Give me a break. All right, tremor. There was no tremor tonight, folks. Zip 0. We looked at Mount St. Helens. What else can we look at? Anyone can look at any of this. Crater Lake. Yeah, Crater Lake, of all places. What is this? Wizard Island? Yeah, beautiful area up there. Don't think we're seeing too much earthquake activity, although this always shows this weird signal. There we go. That's pretty good. Look at that. That's some S waves coming off of. That's a pretty recent event. Let me see where that popped off at. Let's go here to. That had to have been a 5.6. Let's see here. 5.6 at 22:19 UTC time. 22:19. 2220. Yeah, I believe that's from that earthquake out there around the Mariana Islands. It looks like it. Those are some surface waves coming in. But that kind of shows you how sensitive this station is here. These are very squiggly lines indicating that we could see anything happening here within the Crater Lake area, whether it's volcanic or earthquake related. So I like how these are set up. But a lot of times it shows these seismograph stations, these S waves from even moderate sized earthquakes clear across the Pacific. Pretty crazy to think that. All right, folks, I'm going to jump off here. Enough complaining, but man, I hate seeing the fear mongering. I really do. I wish YouTube would do something about it, and I think they do eventually. Those channels tend to disappear after a while when they do fear monger a lot and provide false info to the folks out there. So it is what it is, right? I can only do so much and provide factual data out here for the folks here on this channel. Have a good night, folks. Stay safe out there. Still 105 degrees here in California. It's pretty hot. No barbecue for me tonight. I'm kind of staying inside here where it's cool. Take care, guys. We'll catch you a little bit later on. Stay safe, everyone.